Previously on the European LCS.
Everybody saw it in Moscow, the pressure that SK were under. What they've done, who knows, because it worked.
Against Fnatic, I think the 19-0 always comes to your mind. Once the game starts, you don't really think about it anymore, and you just focus on that game.
You can see Peke's doing all he can, anything to keep his team in this game. SK Gaming could pick up a historic moment here.
They've done it!
Turn on towards it.
SK
it's going to be
Gaming
SK Gaming finally get the win against Fnatic. It's taken them 20 tries, but they've finally done it.
As SK Gaming, normally we should win versus everyone. It was very awesome for us, a lot of motivation.
There was a pressure. We wanted to show that this lineup change was the right move. We wanted to show instantly we could go in and start winning games.
And this is going to be the game for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Fantastic stuff. The new lineup looking very good here against Meet Your Makers.
Ninjas in Pyjamas have done it 2-0. I cannot believe they've managed to pull out this win.
They made 3 roster changes, and it seems to have worked for them so far. Really, it's very early to tell. I guess this week is one of the telling times.
Welcome everyone to our LCS studios in Cologne. I'm your host, Eefje Shock-supporter, and we hope you're ready for a weekend packed with top-notch League of Legends action, because over the next 2 days, we have 12 huge matches coming your way. Now, after last week's games, Alternate still stands alone at the top of the ladder, and we have an unbelievable 5-way tie for the 5th place. Things will look a lot different at the end of this week as the teams fight to separate themselves from the pack at the bottom of the leaderboard. Will the new teams continue to shake up the LCS, or will the old guard regroup and push their way back to the top? We'll find out after today's 6 huge matches. And now, to fill you in on the standings and the schedule for the weekend, it's our Royal caster duo, Lee D-Man-Smith and Joe Miller.
I'm not quite sure we're royalty just yet, but thank you very much, Shocks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to week 4 of the European LCS show. So there have been a whole host of changes this week, with no less than 4 teams making roster changes. First up, it is, of course, Darian. He is back after his illness. He's managed to recover, and he will be replacing Spontex for Gambit in the top lane after a pretty miserable performance by the team last weekend. Next up, of course, it is a temporary swap, so don't get excited, guys. Forellenlord Lord is not here. It is White Knight sitting in the mid lane for him.
Well, we do, of course, have some permanent lineup changes. The Lemon Dogs, first up, have a new support with Miffy coming in here. Of course, former Wizards. We saw him in the promo tournament, replacing We Will Failer. And finally, the biggest change of them all, I think we can say, falls to Fnatic. N-Rated no longer on the team. Yellow Stars moved to support. And Pusho is going to be the new AD carry.
Yeah, we'll see how that one works out. So let's check out the league as it stands right now. As you can see, at the top, it is very close. But Alternate, they continue to show their dominance over the rest. They went 1-1 last weekend. They did manage to take a loss against SK Gaming of all people, but they did also manage a win over Evil Geniuses. And still hanging at 2nd place, Gambit Gaming. They suffered 2 defeats last weekend against Evil Geniuses and Ninjas in Pyjamas, but with the absence of Darian, that may well have been the problem.
In 3rd place, of course, Meet Your Makers hold their ground with a defeat to Ninjas in Pyjamas last week, and then a victory over the Lemon Dogs. The 4th to 8 spots, though, are all tied with Lemon Dogs, EG, Fnatic, SK, and Ninjas in Pyjamas, all at 4 wins and 6 losses. League, to be honest, is really wide open right now. I never expected it to be this close.
Well, 12 matches this weekend. Everything is wide open. Everything's up for grabs. We are, of course, into week 4. So let's check out what today's games are. First up, it is going to be action-packed. We hope it's going to be Fnatic versus Meet Your Makers, followed by Gambit versus Alternate. Some crazy games potentially there. Then, could be a long one, ladies and gentlemen. Evil Geniuses versus the Lemon Dogs.
Yeah, we'll be following those up with Ninjas in Pyjamas versus SK Gaming, Lemon Dogs versus Fnatic, and we'll round off the day with Gambit versus Meet Your Makers.
Now, for me, today's big game really is the rematch that we had in Moscow between Gambit and Alternate. Both teams tasted defeat last weekend, though, so who will make up for that loss?
And it's really hard to say for me as well which is going to be the biggest match, with that 4th to 8 positions being really tied up. But I will go out on a limb and say that SK Gaming will be another massive encounter. Both teams had a storming week 3, winning all of their games. I say all of them, of course, they were only 2, not quite as big as this week. That obviously can't happen this week since they play each other, and it's going to be interesting to see who's really on the strongest point right now. Absolutely.
Lots of great games coming up, ladies and gentlemen. So let's check out what Shox wants to hear from you guys at home.
Thanks, D-Man. So absolutely, you want to hear what you're thinking about anything LCS. All you have to do is hit us up at LOL Esports, #LCS. And our question for you today is, which of the recent roster changes has had the greatest impact so far and why? And once again, this weekend, we're giving away 5 Logitech G100S gaming mice. All you have to do is follow at LOL Esports and send us your answer with the #LCS. If you read your tweet on air, you'll win. And we'll contact the winners via Twitter. But to win, you've got to hit us up, so don't delay. Weigh in on today's question right now. And finally, don't forget to check out lolesports.com for the standings, recaps, VODs, and much more, and to vote on who you think will win this weekend. Now, the spring champions Fnatic have had a rough start to their summer split. So rough that they just replaced and rated at support. Will this roster swap change their luck against the likes of Meet Your Makers? We'll find out as Fnatic versus MYM is our first match of the day after this short break.
We're coming up to week 4 in the summer split already, and the teams are very, very close. So really, those teams are all within reach of each other this weekend. Alternate probably the only difference, but people are starting to panic. Everybody is getting worried about the summer split.
Welcome back, guys, to the start of our European LCS weekend with no less than 6 matches coming up for you today, starting, of course, with Meet Your Makers versus Fnatic. And to call all of the action, it's Joe and D-Man.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get underway for our first match of the day. And as myself and Joe are going to be casting it, we're hoping it's going to be a pretty much action-packed start to the day.
Yeah, Demon, of course, with his drama-filled tweets, turned out to be not quite so true, after all. Here we are again.
Hey, my wish maybe came through. There, maybe there was subtle hints in there, but Reddit, you guys calm yourself down. We're going to be casting the first 2 games. It's not something new. It's not going to happen all the time. Trevor is not with us this week, so there's only going to be 3 of us covering this. So let's check out the lineups. First game, of course, it is going to be Fnatic versus Meet Your Makers. And in the top lane, a changed Fnatic lineup. So as is in the top, Cyanide in the jungle, Peke in the mid, standard stuff there. But Pusho, he is the new AD carry, and Yellowstar now as support.
Yeah, on the other side, of course, Meet Your Makers not changed. One of the very few, I think we can say by now. With Kubon in the top lane, Mokata in the jungle, Charu in the mid lane, Makla and Libic the AD carry and support.
So those are the teams, and you guys at home can vote for who you think will win over on lolesports.com.
Well, right now it looks like 53% of you think that Fnatic are going to take this vote. Definitely not the 92% of you that were wrong last week in their game against the Lemon Dogs.
So the last time these teams met, it was Meet Your Makers that actually came out on top. But that's a long time ago because it was only in day 2 of DreamHack.
Yeah, and DreamHack was obviously that starting point for Meet Your Makers that really got them rolling in the season. They ended the DreamHack event 2 days long with 4 wins and 1 loss. But things have changed a little bit since then. Teams have started to really figure out that Meet Your Makers like to play with complete control. And without that control, they don't look like they're in their comfort zone.
Yeah, it's been interesting games for them lately in the season. But Fnatic, of course, they're coming into this game after removing their support N-rated, which, honestly, we all loved him. But switching the roles, it is going to be Yellowstar now in that support. And they're bringing Pusho in, who is a relatively unknown quantity for today. He's the solo queue champion, apparently.
Yeah, and for me, it's a really interesting switch by Fnatic. I mean, I've read a lot from both Fnatic.com, the official website, plus the players' social media outlets, your Facebooks, your Twitters, and it seemed to be N-Rated's attitude overall that's brought them to this change. The fact that he'd been warned a few times to play solo queue more, and that hadn't really happened. And from there, Fnatic decided they needed that change, and that obviously leaves us with 2 very big questions now for a team like Fnatic nonetheless. How good is Yellowstar going to be as a support player, and how good is Pushu? Because we've not, as we said, seen a lot of him. He's one of those guys who you occasionally see on a top elo stream playing against one of our, the normal superstars that we get to watch here in LCS. So for me, he's got some big shoes to fill. I mean, he's filling Yellowstar's shoes, I guess that we could say on the other side. But Yellowstar himself, N-rated, he was one of the more prolific supports, one of the more stable, steady supports who you can't really find any times where you just say, bit dodgy there from N-rated, that he always seemed to come and perform for Fnatic.
And you got to realize, of course, Yellowstar and N-rated have played together for, God, probably back to CBIT 2012, maybe I'm thinking, when they were against All Authority together. They were a partnership that's been going on for so long. So that partnership has now been broken up. How is this new one going to form? They've literally had a week in the gaming house together. That is it. That's the only chance they've had, really, to forge this relationship. And Pusho, like you say, he's got some big boots to fill. He's got Reckless also in that gaming house, by the way, I should point out, because he is waiting in the wings. Everybody knows he is eventually going to become the AD carry. Everybody, we've been talking about this for a long time, since IPL 5, when he was basically effectively a superstar throughout that month period from DreamHack Winter through to IPL 5, and everybody knows eventually he will be in this LCS lineup. The question is, how much pressure does that add? I mean, this is like David Moyes at Manchester United right now, with Alex Ferguson sat there watching him. And anyone that doesn't know football, then tough. But frankly, most of you guys in Europe will know what I'm talking about. The fact that there is this legend sat at the side that's watching you see how you're going to perform. I mean, it's a bit harsh to call a bit over-exaggerated to call Reckless a legend, but he did do very well when he played.
And that's the thing, he's a massive raw talent that I don't know if you can even call him a raw talent. He has been around since a very long time, actually. This is a kid that's very young, obviously not 17 just yet, that's why he can't play, but he has been around for a good amount of time. And as you said, back when you look at IPL and how well Fnatic did at that event, most people put that down to how well Reckless played throughout it. They've not had him. They were the Spring Split champions nonetheless without Reckless. So everyone was really wondering what happens now. They're the Spring Split champions. Do they still bring Reckless in? Does Yellow Star go to the bench? Well, right now we're seeing a little bit more of that story forming here. Pushu, as you said, new man in. He's not played on a stage of this level ever. And he's got to be feeling some pressure here to come into a team knowing that right now you are, in fact, just a temporary sub. So, you know, he's got a lot to show, not just for Fnatic now in this summer split, but also for maybe later on where, who knows, if he comes out and he's brilliant, they might think twice about Reckless.
And I'm actually going to be surprised if they play them a straight-up 2v2, because they're against Makler and Libic. That's an experienced combo right there. They've been together for probably 2+ years. So I think we're going to see possible 2v1 splits. We'll see how it works out. The bans coming through, you can see Rise, Shen, Nunu, Twisted Fate. Pretty standard bans so far. Nothing unusual, but it does mean that a couple of champions are going to sneak through. We'll see how it plays out, because suddenly they were coming thick and fast, and they've slowed down.
Yeah, slowed down here, which tells me that Fnatic were maybe not expecting one of the bans that have come out, although Nunu for Cyanide, Twisted Fate for Peke, pretty standard if you ask me. They've taken out Jace here as the third and final, which we've seen. He's ridiculously strong right now. He's such a ban-worthy champion, there's no doubt about that. And then Thresh, the final ban for Meet Your Makers, also not a surprise. Now, this champion here that's first picked for Fnatic, the Elise, is something that both Soaz and Kubon love to play. So not a surprise to see that coming out so early.
And an instant lock Draven there, so that means that Makler's going to be very aggressive and possibly up against Soaz in the 2v1 lane, like you say. I mean, you pulled out the stat before that he'd only lost one game. I think it's now about 2 or 3 with Elise, but still, that's not too bad when we're talking overall games in the LCS. Interesting if you guys have been watching the OGN as well over the last week. Obviously, that's all started back up in Korea. Definitely interesting to see how different the picks are between the European scene and the North American scene. So, for example, the North American scene, Twisted Fate has got through so many times. I think I saw Scoura playing it at least 2 or 3 times the other day on the 4th of July games. And so many times he gets through, but here in Europe and in Korea, Twisted Fate will never get through. And if it does, I think he got through once for Peke and once for Ocelot, of course. Ocelot managed to use it against Fnatic last week. But Zach has been locked in, a champion that Wicked has been hailing through the roof on Twitter just today, just this morning. So I wouldn't be surprised to see what Genius is trying to get Zach later on, but straight away, it looks like that's possibly going to be Kubon in the top lane again with Zach, or wherever the solo lane's going to end up.
Yeah, I guess that way, because Makata not really touched too much on that one. He's been more the, you know, the Nautilus. Actually won 2 out of 3 games with Shen so far in the jungle, which obviously won't happen this time around, but he's definitely more of that support jungler who doesn't get too much involved when it comes to, you know, like you can't really compare the what he's been playing to the Zach. Fnatic here coming thick and fast with the pick. So Sona Varus, I mean, there's not really much to explain about that. It's a very highly contested bottom lane these days.
But it does show that this is what Yellow Star's going to be playing Sona. So, you know, we've not really seen... I mean, he's been playing solo queue. That's where the rumors initially began. He was playing massive amounts of solo queue support, and everyone was like, whoa, what is going on here? Something must be happening with N-Rated. That's when the rumors began to circulate. I'm pretty sure I remember Reddit as well, and when the changes came out, someone went, told you, as they like to do, which, to be fair, everybody likes to be proven right. But Makata, he's pulling out Nocturne here. That's going to be Libic on Zyra as well. So Libic playing with something he knows. We have seen Makata on Nocturne. I'm thinking back to the promo series. He was very strong on Nocturne.
Yeah, and Nocturne has been something that he's kind of gone back to in this one. Obviously, he's not got a Nunu or a Shen here that he has gone for in the past. That Nautilus is still there, which, you know, obviously feeling that Nautilus is going to be fitting in a little bit better with the fact that, you know, Zach's going to be diving in there as well, so they're going to be jumping straight in for that one. Right now, Soraka is being heavy. I think Yellow Star is just carrying on where Edward liked to leave off, which is just trolling us when it comes to the support.
No bananas for you, Joe, I don't think. I don't think there's going to be bananas. No. It'd be nice, but I don't think Sona and Soraka kind of fit in the same champion, unless it was Scoura maybe in the mid playing Soraka, who knows, but I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see what they switch it out to. Yellow Star, of course, in discussions, as is Pusho. You can see them both on your screens. This is the new pairing. Jarvan looking like it's going to be selected for Cyanide. Cyanide, who did get a couple of smite steals. It was quite unexpected against Alternate the other week while we were in Moscow. We'll see whether his smite abilities are back up there, but it does look like Peke is going to go with Orianna again. Hasn't had too much success with it, I think it's safe to say. I'd love to see what the percentage win rate on that one is, but I recall that's the champion he's been going with lately.
So I can tell you that statistically they've played a lot of Jarvan and Orianna. However, 4 games with Jarvan, 1 game won.
Oh
3 games with Orianna, no games won. So, you know, statistically heavily picked by Fnatic.
0% win rate,
but not really very good when it comes to the win percentages on that. Meet Your Makers here obviously got the final pick. This is most probably going to be for Charu, and it's going to be a Zilean. That just throws everything out the wall. I was not expecting a Zilean.
Definitely surprised me there. I was thinking, Lissandra, okay, I can work with that one. But Zilean in the mid lane. When did we last see that? I'm thinking back to Big Fat LP's days for CLG.
Years ago.
Oh, my word, gentlemen. It's going to be one of those days, ladies and gentlemen. There's a couple more to come, don't worry. But Zilean, I've not seen this in the mid lane for a very, very long time. I'm thinking back to Gamescom when CLG played TSM, those days when actually it was Solcy in the mid lane that was playing Zilean. I can't even think of Zilean actually being played in the LCS.
I can't either.
I'm gonna have to check this. I'm gonna check the stats in between.
We'll check that one out, but I don't remember, certainly in the European LCS, a Zilean coming out whatsoever in the spring or summer split up until now. So something new for Charu. One thing, of course, that he will continue to run with is that teleport, which is something we've talked about a lot in the past, where he's had situations where he could have won fights, maybe if he'd have had that Zilean in there, maybe that as well. But if he'd have had an Ignite in there instead of that teleport, which is what I was trying to go for. But he has also made big plays with his teleport.
And you think about the things that this brings to the table. With that teleport, he could go down to the bottom lane, top lane, and of course use that revive, turn their fight on its head. As well as being an aggressor, he will be a great support because he has that revive ultimate, could speed up, slow them down. He could create so many problems with that teleporting in to one of those lanes. This is definitely an interesting choice that they've pulled out here, and I'm wondering whether Fnatic are ready for this one, because when was the last time you ever saw a teleport Zilean mid lane?
Not for a while, that's for sure. He wasn't playing in the spring split at all. I actually have a list of rarely picked champions that, you know, snuck through 1 or 2 times maybe earlier on in the European LCS spring split, and that Zilean's not there. I mean, this is a champion that, as you said, we used to see him, I wouldn't say a lot either, but also, you know, he's just a very, very rare pick at this point. There's not often that we're going to see it. Really interested to see how this all works out for Meet Your Makers, because as we said before, they're in a very strange position at this point. They started off really well. They're currently 6 for 4, actually on 3rd place only because they've lost the head-to-head battle with Gambit, who are in 2nd place with 6 wins and 4 losses. But we are going to get into the game then. It's going to be Fnatic taking on Meet Your Makers here. That Zilean going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works for Fnatic's plans, maybe.
Yeah, never been used in the LCS, certainly in the summer so far. I don't know about the spring, but I had to just quick
it's all
check
going
on
off
that.
here at level 1. Makata going very low instantly here as Kuban gonna dive in as well, and it's all kicking off here at the start. Yellow Star now going low. Peke has to flash away. First blood is actually gonna come down here for Soaz. The Zilean bomb is ticking away. Get away from Peke. You'll end up killing him. Soaz going low. Double kill coming down for Kuban. Are they finished with this one? It looks like they are, but Charu being chased down here by Pushu and Cyanide. Will Charu be able to get away from this one? He's trying his best to escape it. There's the flag coming in, and Charu manages to survive, and that will be a 2-for-1 for Meet Your Makers. Kuban getting the double kill here for the start.
Tragic start for them there. It does look like it's going to be a 1v1 lane in the top, but Kuban starting off with 2 kills. He's not going to be lingering around too long. He's already got himself 645 gold. Be surprised if he doesn't just go straight back and buy. I think he's going to stick out that lane for a bit longer. But what a crazy start already. 2-for-1. Fnatic did manage to get a kill. It was on Soaz, so it's not completely one-sided in that top lane, but we're going to see Yellow Star. He's going to face check.
He is, and actually he saw Libby coming out there, but he's not reacted quick enough here. Yellow Star going low. There's the flash in. Makata getting the final kill. 3-1 Meet Your Makers with 150 gone here as Peke throws the ball down. Good job he did.
Well, there is 3 members of Fnatic here. They may actually go aggressive on this one. They don't have vision. They can see just Makata off the side there. Peke comes around with that ball, of course, giving him the vision of the 3 players of Meet Your Makers. We do see Shari. He was looking at coming around there, but they're going to try and steal away this red buff. Cyanide wants to get in. He wants to smite this away.
Well, is he going to be able to? There's the flag put down inside of the brush. It's going to reveal what Meet Your Makers are doing here. He's going to hang around for this one as the grasping roots come down and Cyanide steals it away. Well, I say steals it away, secures it with his smite there. Nice. I guess we could say the best of a bad situation there for Fnatic, and what a start for Yellow Star on support here. 2 deaths after 1.5 minutes, I think it was, and that is just not the support, the start that he wanted to his support career.
This is the exact type of game that we wanted, though, to start off.
Indeed.
We wanted an action-packed game. Cyanide, look at this, flag toss straight away, going in towards that blue buff. Not going to find it there, though. Thinking that Makata may well have started off instead. Makata's gone off to the red buff, and this may mean that Fnatic going to go for the steal here. Cyanide did use his smite, though, so he may need a little bit of help. He has got full hit points, so he may be able to take it on his own. We're going to see whether Peke is going to come across. So the way that Peke is lingering on the map makes me think that he may well come across and try and get that blue buff. The ping actually going down from Meet Your Maker saying someone is here.
Yep, and that one is going to be finished off right now. The question is whether Cyanide can actually get over to his blue buff after that one. There are wards down there for Meet Your Makers, so they should realize that Makata has a chance to get over. But look at this, he's going up towards the golems at the top, which tells me they don't want to risk him going over towards that blue buff. And that should be 3 buffs right from the start for Fnatic.
Yeah, so that's a good comeback as well. 3-1, of course, the kills. It does mean the gold difference is just shy of 1,000 gold in the advantage of Meet Your Makers. You can see this top lane. It is actually, despite the fact Kuban had those 2 kills early on, he's going to get bullied a little bit by SOAS at the start here. So until he gets that gold built up very quickly, which will happen with those 2 kills, he's just going to have a little bit of pressure on him. The bottom lane, though, this is going to be an interesting one, of course, because this is the first time we're seeing Pusho and Yellow Star together. They are up against Makler and Libic. Makler did get himself 2 assists early on, but did go down. Triple assist for Libic as well, remember. So these guys are sitting on a lot of gold for Meet Your Makers. So when they first go back, they're going to definitely swing things in their favor.
And of course have that level advantage here as well. They should always got to be careful about that. Draven at early levels, very, very strong and quite scary, I think we can safely say, as Makata finally realizes that blue buff has been finished off there by Cyanide, who also got the blue buff on his own. This mid lane, always a constant threat is Charu with his bombs coming out. Of course, Command Protect, going to go a long way to keep Xpeke actually healthy from those. But look at Cyanide, he's not messing around here today, looking for a Wraith steal.
Yeah, despite that slow start, of course, he's got himself a level experience here. Going in towards Peke, though, you can see Makata's going to come across. Did manage to put the bombs down, but Charu, he's very low on mana. They may be able to turn this one back around, and Makata, they do bounce him up in the air. The ball's going to get thrown. He was defensive ball, tries to go aggressive with it. Not quite enough damage, though. And they will be able to back away, but that's going to slow him down again. Cyanide, full health at the end of that. Makata absolutely with nothing. He's going to have to go back and buy. All that experience is being gained by Cyanide.
Yeah, and the funny thing, Peke, which we didn't notice or mention earlier on, is that teleport was picked up by Peke to try and counter that of Charu. And Ignite would have got the kill there on towards Makata. So it's another scenario where we see the possibilities of switching out those summoner spells may have ended in a different outcome to things. But right now, Makler being left alone whilst Libic goes back a little bit to ward. Top lanes have actually gone back to buy as well. We see Zach coming in back in there. Of course, Kuban with those initial 2 kills, picking up Negatron Cloak plus the health crystal there on top of that rejuve bead from earlier on. He's going to be hard pressed now is so as to do much damage to Kuban in the top lane.
We're seeing a couple of lane advantages starting to grow as well in terms of CS. You can see, oh, they're going to dive on towards Makler. Here comes Cyanide, gets a knock up on both of them. Brilliant play there. Slow down on towards Makler. Will it be enough? Yes, it will. Yellow Star actually picked up that kill, thinking he's still an AD carry, but it doesn't matter. A kill's a kill nevertheless, and Pusho will be happy for the extra gold.
Yeah, and that's a great thing for Fnatic right now. Cyanide is literally making the plays for him all over the place. He's already been in the jungle countless times of Meet Your Makers. They forced Makata to back away. They've picked up this kill now on towards Makler as well, which is just helping things out. I mean, if that would have gone to Pushu rather than Yellow Star, it would have been even better for Fnatic. But look at the gold. It's now in their favor as Makata coming around into this mid lane. Let's see whether Fia sends him back towards his own turret, and Peke is safe.
Yeah, Charu wasn't really in any situation to try and go aggressive on that one. Shockwave was available for Peke, but I think he was a bit too low on mana. Maybe couldn't turn it around. Charu not really looking healthy either. In terms of CS, it was Peke that was starting to build up an advantage in that lane. And actually, the bottom lane, Makler had built himself up a healthy lead over Pusho, but since they came in for that kill, it definitely has evened itself out. The top lane here, you can see everybody's been back to buy. Actually, defensive stuff coming out from Kuban. He went for that Negatron Cloak as well as the Ruby Crystal, so making sure he can sustain a little bit longer against SOAS. SOAS, meanwhile, he's gone all aggressive aggressive, and we'll see how this one plays out. Very even in CS, though, between the two.
Yeah, SOAS going straight up into that Haunting, guys, which that extra penetration going to help him out here once he gets there. And shouldn't have too many problems with Kubon, but once Makata starts to get around, he's level 5 right now, so not quite got the ultimate to really be causing some fears for SOAS in that one. As Libic here is just going to be checking out the Dragon, not a pink ward put down for him, so both teams got vision of Dragon right now. As Kubon going to use Let's Bounce, goes in on towards SOAS and actually flashes out of it straight away. Interesting choice by him, but he didn't have any vision around that top side of the river, so decides not to go full on in for that.
Yeah, burned his Ignite as well, so I think he realized that I am not going to win this fight. SOAS still had Flash Ignite available, and he was already ready to switch into that spider form and pounce on towards him. Quickly has to back away, so we're going to have to keep our eye on that one. SOAS seems to be winning out that lane, despite the fact Kubon picked up those 2 very early kills. Down in the bottom lane again, we can see both teams went for a Vampiric Scepter on the AD carries. Also, the Berserker Greaves going to get built up by Pusho, who wants to get that movement speed. Something that, of course, we have seen a number of the AD carries doing is simply skipping the boots early on, but it seems that both these guys want to get those boots, and he hasn't picked up the basic boots just yet, but we'll see whether he goes straight for them. I'm expecting that to happen. In terms of CS between the two, Makta again starting to get himself that little CS lead. Every time they get themselves an even lane, he does start winning out the CS battle.
There is Makata on his red buff right now. Of course, the only buff that he got at the start of the game, actually. The other 3 were picked up by Cyanide across the map with some great jungle control and use of the vision that Fnatic had down, despite that horrible start that they really had into this one. And of course, they are holding right now a solid, I say solid 100 gold lead. It doesn't sound like much, but with the start that they had, it certainly is. As Pushu here, going to get knocked up. He's going to have the Stranglethorns. There is the ultimate back down from Pushu, but can he get away? The Ignite was used. He'll be able to walk away from this one, but still going very, very low, just showing the danger of what Draven and that Zyra can do. Let's not take anything away from Libic here. He's a fantastic Zyra player, and those grasping roots are going to be what sets any opportunities up for Makta if it comes down to a 2v2.
Absolutely, keeping that pressure on. That's exactly what they need to do. Pusho's trying desperately to keep the wave cleared, though. Libic doing a very good job of harassing him. Of course, this is everybody, all eyes on Yellowstar. How does he handle this situation? Can he bully them out? Because at the moment, Libic seems to be the one that's doing the bullying in the lane. But look at this mid lane. Sharu's going to go in. That's going to be the paranoia. Will be triggering. Shockwave only catching up towards Sharu. It will be enough. Makata picks up the kill. And that is going to be Peke going down. I was about to say that Peke's built himself up a great big CS lead, 20 plus CS over Sharu, but that kill, that's going to even everything out.
Yeah, that bringing it right back there and should allow Charu that extra bit of time to get the farm. And obviously, Zilean not going to be the machine at farming early on. Those bombs, now for the damage that they do, they're kind of hard to be really timing to get all the CS, especially when you compare that to someone, of course, like Orianna in the lane. Right now, Meet Your Makers are going around for that blue buff. They decide this time, let's not take any chances. There's a bomb on Makata's head, which he should definitely use to be picking that one blue buff up, and that will be going over. And we should also mention that Fnatic's blue buff was with XPK there, and Makata actually managed to get it on the way back.
They do actually see this, stood on the ward in the banana. All 5 members of Meet Your Makers are here. They're going to go pouncing in. Look at, you can see Macklin coming up the lane. Will they pick it out to catch on towards SOAS? No, has to burn that flash to get away, but that will buy time, and maybe Meet Your Makers are going to turn to Dragon. No, the fact that Fnatic have regrouped, they should bully them out of lane, and they will force them back to lanes.
Crazy, crazy first 10 minutes here of this one. 4-2 in kills for Meet Your Makers. They now have a very slight gold lead, which has just been moved back and forth by about 100 for these last 6 or 7 minutes or so. Right now, Peke and SOAS were just putting down a bit of pressure onto that outer turret in the mid lane. Obviously, Dragon, neither team really in a position right now to feel comfortable about starting that little engagement off.
Absolutely. So, returning back to this bottom lane, Makta's going to wipe out this wave. He's going to be pretty much even in CS. Pusho and Yellowstar are going back to buy, so we'll keep our eye on... Oh, I tell a lie, they decided to stop going back to buy. Remember, there was a call, a shout out from his jungler. Cyanide is nearby, I think. Yeah, Cyanide may well make his way in towards his bottom bush. Yes, he is. So that was a call coming out from Cyanide. So we'll see whether they manage to get any ganks off here. Tri-bush is completely clear as well, so he has a choice of routes here. Because Meet Your Makers, no wards on either of these players, so they're going to be going in fairly blind. Libic using the plants to try and bully him way out there. Cyanide just off in the distance, sat there. Oh, Chain of Corruption's going to miss. Forced the flash though, nevertheless. And actually, Charu, tell a lie, it's Peke teleports in. Shockwave comes down. Was not expecting that. Crescendo comes out. Meteor Makers weren't expecting it as well. The all-out aggression, and that's a teleport cancelled as well by Charu.
Yeah, now Soa's in trouble in this top lane here. He's got 2 men on him. Let's see if he can actually get away. Nice cocoon onto Makata, but he stops in his tracks as he realizes he's not going to escape from those arms of these it doesn't matter. Livic's there, he's dead.
It doesn't matter because Lipic is down the bottom there. While this is all happening though, Charu has been putting pressure on that mid lane turret as well. Looks like Fnatic may well be able to do work, take this bottom turret out. Meteor Maker is going to be taking the top turret. So suddenly, all across the map, objectives starting to be gained by the teams. Top tower goes down. That's going to be the first of the game for Meteor Makers. Middle turret will follow as well. So there's going to be 2 turrets picked up. One more shot. Will it be enough or will Peke go aggressive? That's going to be the bottom turret going down. Fnatic will take that one down, but it's going to be 2 for 1 in turrets. And Meteor Maker's going to keep that 1,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, and it's that middle outer turret as well. We talk about it all the time. Actually, Fnatic aren't they going to try and group up for that one afterwards and try and really level that one up as it is right now? I'm not sure that they will. Meteor Makers, we should always say at this point, they've been a team who, once those outer turrets have started to fall, they've spent a lot of money on warding. They've put a lot of wards down aggressively in their opponent's jungle. We'll see if they go for that kind of thing here as well, as Kubon once again going to be walking out of the way with that bomb on him. That's something that, obviously, Meteor Makers, from what I see there, they're not so used to having that Zillion in the team.
Yeah, very clever play from Meteor Makers. They knew Crescendo and Shockwave were not available. There was nothing that really Fnatic could do to try and harass for that one. So that will stretch the gold to 1,500. Sinai is going to be taking that red buff. The rest of Meteor Maker is going to go back and buy. Makta's got himself a BF sword along with that Vampiric. Probably expect the Bloodthirster to come out there. Blade of the Rune King already completed by Pusho though, so we'll see how that compares at the moment. You can see that hail of arrows just clearing out the waves. See, in terms of CS, still very, very close between them. The big difference really is Peke versus Charu. Still managed to keep that 20 CS lead there. But you can see in terms of gold, it's still even between them because of those 3 assists that Charu picked up. He went down the bottom, helped out. Of course, 3 kills on Kubon in the top lane also mean he's just keeping that edge in terms of gold, despite the fact he's fell way behind in CS.
Yeah, Soa's doing what we're used to seeing from Soa's by now, which is, now even if he's stacked against all odds really in this top lane, he's still managed to be pulling through with everything. Got that Haunting guys already in there. As you see, Makata, who's definitely a lot stronger now. Got himself a few items in there to help things out. It's actually 2-0-2 at this point. We see there pink wards being cleared out in that bottom lane, and that's because Cyanide is actually waiting just by the turret right now to try and get in and maybe go for that lane gank. There is a pink ward in the top side of the brush there from Meteor Makers, so they may be able to spot something out with that one all coming in, but looks like we're going to get a quiet couple of moments, which is now a bit of a welcome change, I suppose we can say. This has been a massively action-packed game here so far. If we look down the mid lane, there's there Charu on your screen, got that needlessly large rod, along with the blasting warning so far. Compare that for Peke, who's got the large workings of that Athene's Unholy Grail.
Kubon sat biding his time, hoping that Peke is going to show himself, but I don't think they're going to fall for this one. He is just off the bush, and he's going to get spotted by that ward. Makata, well, he sat very deep, but of course that Paranoia has got a long range on it, so they may well go aggressive on Pusho. They did see Cyanide, so they know that they have a numbers advantage down here with that ping ward in the bush, so Fnatic have their eyes just covering off. But look at this, Charu is also coming across. It's going to be the blue buff they're going to take away, so maybe looking to go for this gank in this bottom lane after the blue buff's taken.
Well, let's see. Makata here going to have that. Oh, not quite enough damage there from Charu to finish off the blue, but he will get it afterwards. An auto attack will seal the deal on that front. Well, this bottom area is surely where things are going to be getting in. We saw Pushu missing that Chain of Corruption earlier on as Cyanide tried to get in, but usually these players don't miss 2 in a row, that's for sure. And I say usually with, you know, the biggest of hopes that I don't actually curse Pushu when I say something like that. Right now, only 5 or 6 CS the difference between the two, so not the biggest of things. And he's 1-0-3 in the kills as well with that Blade of the Rune King in there, which will obviously help him to keep up with that W of Draven, which gives him that natural movement speed to maybe be escaping somewhat. But as we see, it is a little bit of a quieter time in the game. That Athene's Unholy Grail now finished up for Xpeke. Charu not got any turret there to be attacking on. I don't think he's quite so confident with crossing that mid line right now, since Meet Your Makers don't have the best vision, certainly if we compare it to their other games that we've seen so far here in the LCS.
Yeah, and that's interesting, the fact they haven't gone full out with the wards as often they do. Instead, he's gone back, got himself up Rabadon's death cap, building up that tier still as well. Pusho, meanwhile, in this bottom lane, they're going to continue to wipe out, and they're actually staying in the lane phase for quite a long time here. 17 minutes gone. Considering the little bit of aggression we've seen between them, the fact that there are 3 towers down, everybody still stayed in the lanes. They've taken the turrets, but stuck around. They haven't decided to switch it up. We are seeing Kubon still sticking around against Soaz here. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to see Makata come and join him. He is just off at the golems right now, but Soaz not going to fall for it. He's going to back off to his lane and continue his farming merry way. So, a bit of a lull period, but look at the CS advantage, as we mentioned earlier, between Peke and Charu. It's continuing to grow. This is just not getting any smaller, and it is building up to a 40 CS difference between Peke now, farming it out. He's actually heading gold now, so he's doing a grand job in that mid lane of just, despite the fact he lost his turret very early on, just hanging around. He hasn't used that teleport once yet, as far as I'm aware. No, he did. Went down the bottom, got the shockwave on.
Yeah,
Makler.
that's true. He did. Yep. You're right. He did. When they managed to catch out both Makler and a little bit later on Libic from that on. Charu, of course, tried to use it to counter, but actually cancelled in the end. Right now, Fnatic looking like they want this middle outer turret. Thought he might have come around a little bit early, but they're going to go in. Here's Kuban off to the side.
He's going to go off the side there. Chain of Corruption will go down, but the Stranglethorns catches Pusho. Pusho gets bounced in the air. We did see actually Makata use the Paranoid on Pusho, so he got kind of cancelled midway through. There's going to be a Chain of Corruption. Crescendo coming out, and the shockwave on Kuban, but seemingly doing absolutely nothing to him, and they just carry on pushing.
Yeah, pushing this one really nice. Pushu, of course, himself is down at this point. And we'll see if Fnatic can actually hold on to this inner turret in the mid lane. Soaz coming across the side. Actually will land the cocoon. Look at the damage there on towards Makler. He's got the ultimate on him, though, from Charu. He's not going anywhere here soon, but they need to keep a hold on him. Makler is going to come back in. Cyanide right on top of them as he puts the Cataclysm down. Use defensively there as he flashes away from it, but they're not finished just yet. Meet Your Makers do, in the end, decide to back off, with Fnatic forcing them away somewhat, and the threat of Pushu respawning as well will certainly mean that Meet Your Makers can't get involved anymore from this point.
And just like that, we talked about the versatility of the fact that you have Zilean in the team, and sure enough, that ultimate just helping out. Makler completely caught out by the cocoon of Soaz, but straight away, that ultimate just brings him back to life, and still Fnatic gain nothing from it. So it's 6-4 in terms of kills, and just 2,000 gold almost building up between them, but still just 2-1, not really taking any great advantages. Dragon just spawned. That's probably going to be the next focus target for all the teams, although we are seeing Charu with that teleport going towards the top lane.
There's Pushu as well, just getting himself that red buff. Cyanide gonna let him have that one. And Fnatic start to move around towards the Dragon area. There is a pink ward down there for Meet Your Makers, and Fnatic not actually gone, or they will end up warding it. There is a pink ward finally down from Yellow Star, and they know that they've now been seen. So will Fnatic stay around for this one? The team of Meet Your Makers closing in, but Charu has got that teleport on the top lane as well, so he could get involved with this one. Here they come. It's stolen away by Makata. Here comes Charu from the side. Who are they going for? It's Pushu that's going to be the focus from this one. Makler gets the ultimate. One more attack, and actually it's finished off there by Makler. The bomb was in as well. Yellow Star trying to get around on towards Makler, but honestly, I don't know if he's got the damage for that. There's the shockwave from Peke. He was feared up from Makata. They're going to keep chasing on from this one. Is the slow going to be enough? Oh, Kuban's missed it there. He's not going to be able to interrupt it. He's overshot it. That was ridiculous stuff. There's the ulti coming out from Makata. He's going to dive on towards Soaz. The fear, where's that going to send him away? But is it going to be enough to repel last second? Can he escape? No, he can't. Kuban finishes off. Crazy fight once again.
Crazy, crazy fight, and it was a 2-for-2. Peke managing to teleport out of there. Makler also got took down at the bottom lane area as well, so very even between the two, but more importantly, the Dragon was stole away by Meet Your Makers, so it was worth it for Meet Your Makers. Actually, it was interesting that the ward got taken away, so Charu had to teleport really far back and then flash engage as well, so really wasn't quite what he wanted, because that pink ward that Fnatic put down did manage to wipe out his real main place that he could teleport into. Blue buff will be picked up though by Charu, and they're going to gain more advantages. You can see the bottom turret, they're pinging on it, saying let's take that out.
This is definitely the match we were looking forward to here with you know, the crazy start. It's given us everything that we'd expected to see, and we used to talk about this where before we felt like we were harping on about it. When we used to watch Meet Your Makers all the way back when they were you know, the kings of Go for LOL, Nordic and East, they did this all the time at level 1, and this seems to be a little bit of the new, the old MYM shining through as well. Certainly not that, you know, the needy control team that Meet Your Makers have proven to be here in the first half of this summer split. But right now, they have a lead. It's 3,000 gold almost. But they're up against Fnatic, a team that have countless times brought leads like this back, and bigger leads for that matter. But at the same time, they're against a Fnatic with a new man in the team, or we should really say 2 new roles, I guess, since Yellowstar is now in that support role. And Rated gone from the team with Pushu coming in. He's currently 1-2-4, is ahead in the CS of his opponent, Makler.
Yeah, and so far, Yellowstar and Pusho seems to be doing a pretty fantastic job. Pusho just ahead in CS, ever so slightly. Hasn't really been able to pick up the kills, but of course, Yellowstar's been doing that one. So we may well have a new scumbag support in our Mists here with 3 kills as well. And did, of course, go for the Philo Stone, which Libic never does. And Libic never goes for these GP10 items. Don't know why, GP10, GP5, whatever you like to call them. I'm harping back a few years there. But Soaz and Peke pushing in towards this mid lane. They're going to take this turret down. There's not a great deal the Meet Your Makers can do about it. And there's the Shockwave pulling 2 of them in beautifully. Crescendo follows through. And just like that, they pick up a tower and 2 kills.
So that's the thing with this team, right? You've got the Crescendo, you've got the ultimate coming out of Varus, the Chain of Corruption to get in, you've got the Shockwave. If all of those 3 land perfectly, a team of 2 men, Makata and Makl there, you're going to have no chance. And now Fnatic have turned, and they're actually going for Baron right now. Kubon is still there, but there's no smite because Makata is dead. That leaves just 3 men left alive for Meet Your Makers. They're going to have to rely on the ultimate out of Charu as Kubon is going to go in there. Baron is very, very low right now, but Fnatic focusing down Kubon. There is actually a kill coming out. There is the kill on towards Kubon, but he had the ultimate of Charu on his head, and he may be able to walk away from this one. That is 3 men stopping a 5-man Baron attempt from Fnatic. Brilliantly done.
Brilliant stuff. And remember, of course, Kubon effectively with 3 lives there because he had the revive as well as his passive, so he could have come back any time. But Charu helped him out there, and that was a dangerous, dangerous call by Fnatic. The right call, maybe you'd feel, the fact they did get those 2 good kills on the jungler and the AD carry. But Meet Your Makers are still a fearsome team, and with that many ultimates down, they were not too worried about going aggressive. But now they're turning it on towards Peke. Paranoia comes in. Kubon goes leaping towards it. They may have gone too deep for this one, though. Makata has to try and get away. Cataclysm catches 4 of them on the turret. The bomb on the Cyanide's head, that's not going to do a great deal, and they could continue to chase on towards it. Makta's going to come around the side. He's going to catch on towards Cyanide. They're poking back and forward, but Meet Your Makers, they have to back out of this one.
Another crazy bit of action in this one. He's just going to be stealing away those Wraiths as Meet Your Makers make an escape. And a couple of wards put down. If you look at the top side of the map there, Fnatic really spent a lot on ward control to make sure that they were going to be safe around that Baron. In the end, though, 3 men from Meet Your Makers managing to scare them away. And like you said, it's not really 3 men because of the ultimate from Charu, because of the fact that Kubon does have that passive to bring him back to life, the Cell Division. It's a scary team to be going up against, even without the likes of a Draven in there and the smite from Makata. They still weren't able to pick that one up. And that right there could have actually saved Meet Your Makers' game. This would be a very different goal total right now if Fnatic could have managed to pick that up.
Well, Pusho's just gone back. He's got himself a bit of a power spike going on here. He's got himself that Infinity Edge to go with that Blade of the Rune King. Last Whisper will probably follow. Definitely going to be fearsome in the next fight. So we'll see when they start to look to that one. They may even try and push for it because the fact that they have got that aggression. We'll see Charu down the bottom lane. They have pinged on him, and look at their Cyanide's actually trying to head him off around the side.
Are they going to be able to get a hold of him, though? I mean, Zilean himself is a bit of a slippery character. He's not exactly one that you can hold on to, can obviously speed himself up, can slow you down, whichever one he chooses to be fit. But now he decides to move away from that, and with the rewind on there, he's pretty much got that constantly available to him. He's up, what, level 16 right now, so yeah, indeed. Pretty much always going to be faster than you. That's the problem of trying to lock that Zilean down on things. But there's a lot of pings going down from both sides here towards this middle lane and the top side of the map where that Baron wasn't quite taken last time here by Fnatic, and Meet Your Makers will want to make sure that next time around it's a 5-man team that they've got going in there to contest.
Absolutely. Dragon spawns and Libic going to clear out those wards, but Fnatic want to fight for it. And of course, why not? They're going to be launching in towards this one. Kuban catches on towards Yellowstar. Not really the target they wanted. Couldn't get on towards Pusho or Peke as well. And that is an ultimate use. Let's Bounce is down. And I'm not too sure Meet Your Makers can fight for this now.
Now, Let's Bounce not really having the desired effect, and Fnatic have actually zoned them out here. They're going to force them to probably recall or attack from the very side of them here, and it looks like the attack from the side is what Meet Your Makers are going to go for. Kuban getting locked down. Livic going to be shut down. He had the Charu ultimate on top of him. Kuban is at less than half HP, and Fnatic themselves are pretty healthy outside of Cyanide. The Strangle Thorns went down for the disengage. Is Cyanide going to get finished? Yes, he is. Makler gets that one. Xpeke is going to bomb on his head, but it's a double kill for Makler coming in. Cell Division popped. Kuban not going to die just yet, but Makata's gone a little bit too far. Soaz will make him pay for that one, but now Libic's coming around the side. Pushu got the bomb on his head. Can he be taken down? Uses the Blade of the Ruin King. He will finally fall here to Makler. There is Charu going down. It's Soaz at the back. He gets himself a double kill, but Meet Your Maker's not done just yet. They're going to keep going for this one. Elastic slingshot from Kuban, not quite landing, but he'll get the slow onto Soaz. Where's the finisher? He's still running that pesky spider. There's a slow, and that's going to be, or is it a dead Soaz? Finished off by Libic in the end. I'll say it again. Crazy stuff.
What a fight there. And honestly, I was questioning Sharu using the ultimate on Libic at the start of that, but he proved me completely wrong. Managed to get the Stranglethorns down, which separated the whole team. Cyanide then got taken down by that beautiful play by Makler. And then he got right around the side in the river and managed to land the grasping roots on 2 members of Fnatic. And that is what completely crippled them out there. So, Meet Your Makers with the advantage once again, despite the fact they were coming from a disadvantaged position from the side without that Let's Bounce, and still coming out on top. That's got to be a worry for Fnatic right now. They're 13-10 down in kills. It's still only just over 1,000 in gold, though. Peke picking up the blue buff. Dragon is up, and I reckon we're going to be going straight back down to that spot.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, look at that last fight. It was all taken pretty much because Fnatic thought they had positional advantage to push straight through that mid lane, that Meet Your Makers would feel not comfortable coming around from that side to go for it. In the end, Meet Your Makers just piled on in on top of them, and it worked out nicely for them. The funny thing is that with all those kills going down, there were no extra towers, there was no Dragon, there was no Baron taken from all that. Right now, it's all about team fighting here, and they're not quite able to, after those team fights, be healthy enough to take objectives from that. Right now we can see Peke trying to push that outer turret in the top lane down. He's going to have Charu coming onto him. Makler here may get caught out by Soaz, but it's going to be Nocturne. Actually, is he going to come in on this top lane? He pops his ultimate there, the Paranoia. Decides not to go around, but it is going to be Makler caught out in the bottom lane. He's tied up by Cataclysm, not getting away and gets shut down, in fact, by Cyanide.
Yeah, big gold bonus there for Cyanide as well, because he picked up a number of kills in that last fight. So that is a big, big pickup for Fnatic. And now, of course, with that AD carry down, it should give them advantages. Looks like it's going to be the top lane they want to go for. Paranoia was used, like you said, but not really for any use. Peke is going to be taking that top turret down. That's going to pull it back to 3-3 in turrets. Once they get the last hit on there, that will go down eventually. Peke takes that down. Ping's actually on Livic's head right now, and it's going to be an inner turret picked up by Fnatic. They are just taking advantages all across the map. As you said in the last fight, no objectives were gained. Sweet FA was gained from that last fight, but this time, 1 kill, 2 towers.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about it, that Fnatic are so good, not just in, scenarios where they've got more men on Summoner's Rift, basically, to push those advantages. They did that with all 5 men up for Meet Your Makers. They're going to take a Dragon from this one, but will Soaz be able to escape? He's going to get feared. In comes Charu from the side. That's a kill for Charu in the end. He just zips in after teleporting down to pick up his first kill, actually, of the game. It's kind of normal to see a Zillion stacked full of assists, actually, but not having any kills. That was his first one of this one. We may have another fight on our hands here, though.
Well, we can see the balls going out there. That's the piercing arrow landing on 3 of them as well. Meet Your Makers, they were trying to position for Baron here, maybe try and set something up. Fnatic, they know a down 1 person, so they're going to try and start this fight off, but with that crescendo available, with that shockwave available, it's very dangerous to get caught out in that pit, and that is why they're going to peel away from this one.
Yeah, better safe than sorry at this stage. The goal is very, very even. We're half an hour into this matchup already. Let's have a look at down some of the individual gold totals. We can see that Soaz, with that big CS lead, he's got the same amount of kills, 5 deaths and less assists, but still rocking the gold lead by about 800 there over Kuban. The mid lane has 5,500 for Xpeke to 10,500, I should say, so the 10.2 thousand that Charu has right now. So this one is still an incredibly close game. and it's all about the engagements. It's all about the likes of the shockwave, of that chain of corruption, of the crescendo, or from the other side, that grasping roots followed by a stranglethorns, and Kubon bouncing in the right places at the right time for it to get started here for both teams.
Yeah, Meteor Makers really cannot clump together. They've done it a few times, and there's just so much AE potential from Fnatic that can just completely catch them out and melt them without the chance of moving. That's why they've got to be careful. Libic being very ballsy here. Absolutely no vision of the jungle there, just to stroll on in and put them wards down. So you can see the ward coverage starting to happen from Meteor Makers this time around. This is what we talked about so early on. They used to do this very early in the game. Now, finally, in the 32-minute mark, they're starting to try and take some positional advantage. Baron almost certainly is going to be where everybody's drawn towards, but I'm not too sure whether that's the right target right now. I think they just need to try and push for those towers. The fact that they haven't taken an inner turret yet, and Fnatic have, means Fnatic just starting to feel comfortable.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ian. Now, it was always going to be a bit of a ropey start, in my opinion. Maybe not quite as ropey as it actually went for Fnatic. Just for the fact that this is the first time that we're going to be seeing Yellow Star as a support. Cyanide, that was a bit strange. Actually got hit as he slid through to the flag there and was rooted at the point of the flag. So, actually turned out safe for that one. And Fnatic right now, they're going in from the side again.
They're running up the mid lane. Can they catch on towards Peke? The fear does go off, but he didn't quite catch him. There's going to be the crescendo. Is it going to be enough? Makata, he's got the res back available. Let's bounce on all of Fnatic, and look at this. Meteor Makers are collapsing on them. Yellow Star tries to flash away, but the shockwave, beautifully done there from Peke. So well timed, and just like that, Meteor Makers melting. The perfect time, perfect position from Fnatic. They baited them towards them, and that is an absolute brilliant ace from Fnatic. They can just go straight at the mid.
That control from Fnatic was amazing. Coming in and out of the fight when they needed to. Everything used at the perfect time. And I'm going to give credit to Yellow Star once again there. Crescendo, which really stopped that initial chase where they didn't seem to be quite ready for that fight. That slowed Meteor Makers down. Fnatic were able to pick them off one by one. The ultimate's not really having that big impact that MYM were looking for. That's going to give Fnatic not only the ace, but the Baron pickup as well. We've also got Xpeke pushing the bottom lane in. And I believe he did actually, yes, that turret was taken down there as well. I think earlier on, actually, if I'm not lying to myself. And that's a lot of gold now for Fnatic to go home with. We see the likes of the Locket of the Iron Solari picked up, a Void Staff for Peke. There's the workings of the Crystal Scepter coming in as well for Soaz. We see Boots and Mobility for Yellow Star. He's got a Locket of the Iron Solari. Last Whisper was finished for Pushu. So Fnatic with that one big engagement of Baron, have just picked up a massive spike for the next time a fight comes around.
Absolutely, and with that bottom turret possibly down, they're maybe going to go in towards that when they tried to put pressure on the inhibitor turret there. It's going to be the blue buff for Sharu, but this is a bound up 5-man Fnatic team now. They're just going to clear out those waves. Interesting that the Boots and Mobility go out for Yellow Star. Let's see how he's definitely being one of those aggressive supports. And look at him, you can already see he's setting up the wards placement to get aggressive on towards his top inner turret. And actually, he's still waiting to go for Kubon here. He's like, I can do this. I got it, man. I got him. I got the pressure on him. I have a Baron. I'm a support, but I don't care. The rest of Fnatic were collapsing in towards him. So Kubon, if he's going to get baited to sticking around, trying to go for Yellow Star there, he will be in trouble. And I think he realizes it straight away. Backs to the turret, gets in towards the bush. So the rest of Fnatic get in position to take down this inner turret.
Yeah, and for me, it's Soaz who's doing a lot of damage here into these team fights. As Chara going to get locked up inside of the Cataclysm. Kubon going to be the big target. There is a shockwave going down, which didn't manage to do too much, but Meteor Makers nonetheless are losing too much health. There is Soaz once again right at the front of things as he dives on top of Libic. He's not even lost half HP as he pops Azonias. They take down Makata as well, and that's another 5 for 3 here for Fnatic. Obviously, Libic did die there. His passive just showed him he's still alive, but Charu and Makla between them, they can't hold on here.
Absolutely brilliant stuff with that Baron, making full use of it. They should take down this inhibitor turret as well. There's not a great deal that Meteor Makers can do about it, and they will drop it so easily. The inhibitor will follow. They may even be able to just push straight through in this one. There's 20-second death timers. I wouldn't be surprised if they get themselves a Nexus turret here, Joe.
Yeah, and they're going to keep going for this one. You see how fast they're able to take them down. They've got 10 seconds. They're going in for another kill here. And there is, actually, was it a Guardian Angel there? Pop for Makla. I didn't even see him pick that one up earlier on. Actually, no, I tell a lie. It was Charu's ultimate that he's picked up. I'm being totally ridiculous about that one. But either way, Fnatic are going to go in there, pick up the victory in that one. A hard-fought battle with a horrible level 1 fight for them, which went really I think we can say pear-shaped, but what a turnaround. When it came to those team fighting stages, Demon, they looked unstoppable.
It was a rough first game for Pusho and Yellow Star in that bottom lane, but nevertheless, Fnatic turn around their fortunes, pick themselves up a win with this roster change, and it was an important win because remember, Meet Your Makers, they were sitting in 3rd place right now, but now they're joint with Fnatic, tied for 3rd spot, so that really has worked in their favor, and actually, that's going to be 1-1 between the two teams now that Fnatic have managed to pull themselves back at that win over Meet Your Makers, making them even. So, just like that, the league continues to be very, very tight between these teams, but does that prove it worthy? Is that the N-rated change required? Was that enough for them? I don't know, because still it was a rough performance from Fnatic.
It's really hard to say after one game.
They went 3-1 down in level 1 fight as well, which is a very good comeback in itself.
Yeah, usually you'd say, okay, that's, possibly, obviously you're not going to say that's possibly GG at level 1, because those things can always change around, but it doesn't get much worse than that at the start without losing your entire team. Kubon, he got 2 of those kills. He was probably the biggest problem for them outside of Charu's ultimate, which kept bringing the right person in at the right time back into those fights. But, Fnatic went about it perfectly. The crescendos from Yellow Star, it was an AD carry last week. Today he's still stealing kills, but that'll get better. But his crescendos right on the mark. Soaz was fantastic with Elise. Once again, that actually puts in 3 wins out of 4 games played with Elise in the summer split so far, which is, for me, again, another champion that I'm afraid you might have to take away from Fnatic, because he's shown it in the spring split. In the spring split as well, without thinking about the playoffs, he actually won every single game with Elise in that as well. So, Elise is a champion for Soaz. Of course, in this one, they probably left it through because they'd have hoped that it had gone through onto the likes of Kubon, who himself has played a lot of great games on that Elise as well. But first win for Fnatic under their belt, just showing that these roster changes that are happening are picking up wins for the teams that they've happened in.
Yeah, and they need the wins as well, because everybody is chasing to get that summer grand finals, the world finals that will be happening, of course, come September, October time. It's there on the calendar. Everybody knows, everybody wants to get there. First, they've got to get past the playoffs at Gamescom, of course, and everybody fighting to get that top 6 spot, then playoff spots. At least I'm assuming that's where it is. That's where it was in the spring anyway. I haven't actually checked that.
Just guessing.
Just guessing. No, right, please, come on, guess this work. But, of course, Fnatic, it was a big, gutsy move for them. They've taken a lot of flack about this change, and rightly so, because N-rated was a absolute fantastic support. Some would say, with the absence of Edward, could have possibly been the best support in the league. And that is a pretty ballsy change to make. If you think back to his Leona play, his Janna play at DreamHack, it's been absolutely fantastic. Even the Blitzcrank play has been fantastic as well. So, that's a lot of things taken away from him. But on that other flip side, we've just seen Sona come out from Yellow Star now. How much do they know about Yellow Star as a support, and how much do they know about Pusho? Pusho they probably know about as an AD carry, but Yellow Star as a support, they used to do bans against N-rated. Yellow Star at the moment has got the free reign, so nobody really knows what they're going up against, and maybe that was a problem for Meet Your Makers. The fact that he pulled out Sona so many times with those crescendo turns fights, and I'm no surprise that it's a champion that Gambit pretty much always forced Edward to take.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. You can only really research that by looking at games that Fnatic have played and the games that Yellow Star has played himself in that support role in solo queue, and that's honestly, for me, not enough to go on.
Researching solo queue is dangerous.
Yeah, not enough to go on to actually pull bans in a game like this, where you've got the likes of Soaz, Cyanide, Expeke to ban out as well, while you've got 3 bans to go with. So now it left that open. Yellow Star, I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 for that performance.
I think he did very well. We are, of course, going to go over to Shox, though, who is standing by with an interview with Fnatic.
Thank you very much. I'm joined here by Expeke. What an amazing match. It was action-packed. So tell me first, what was it like going up against a Zilean in the mid lane? Not something we see that often.
Well, I knew he was going to pick Zilean since 1 week ago. I played him in solo queue, and he was just practicing it. He wanted me to pick Ahri, I think, because it counters Ahri, but I pick Orianna, which is kind of equal. And what I do with Orianna is just farm. You cannot really beat him, but you can out-farm him really hard, and that's what I focus on doing.
So in retrospect, how crucial was it that you went for the teleport like he did as well?
Yeah, I think you kind of need it. You don't need it for sure, but it's really good to help lanes. Like, I help bot a bit with it, and it's good when it comes to late game. If Zilean goes top, I can go top and then teleport at the same time. If not, you let them too much free space to do whatever they want.
Yeah, and in the beginning, you guys were kind of behind. Was it the fact that they had basically 2 revives in their team that threw you off guard?
Yeah, the thing is, we were not ahead. I don't know if we were, what was the goal difference, but we were equal or a bit behind even. And it's hard to win a fight when you are behind. Their Thug is super tanky, and they have his passive, his revive, and you cannot do much. We tried our best kiting, hitting them, and the fights weren't so bad. They were kind of close, but still they were winning them until we had enough damage. Once we had Void Staff and Rabadon and enough burst, it was totally fine.
Right, of course, it was a very important win for you guys. Tell me how you experienced the last week, of course, where you're not only losing a teammate, but also a friend in N-rated.
Yeah, we made the change really recently, like during this week. It's not like something we had planned for a long time. Like this week we just, we decided we had to change. It's not only, I don't think it was something that we had wanted to change because of the skills levels or anything. It was more personal stuff that, of course, not everyone knows and we haven't said, but other stuff. And I think it's better, even if we might not be as good right now. We're more motivated, and I think that's going to show up overall in the season now.
All right, thank you very much, and congratulations once again. Now, Gambit went a sorry 0-2 with their substitute Spontex last weekend. And with Darien back in their ranks, can they set aside the first place Team Alternate? Gambit takes on Team Alternate when we come back. Don't go anywhere.